Now then, and welcome to the channel. I'm Saul, this is my wife Debbie, and along with Tango, we live on Narrowboat Laura. We're currently cruising on the Lancaster Canal, seeing lots of interesting things, and also some interesting people. We're barely floating. It's a bank holiday weekend in the UK, so it's probably going to rain. So I thought it's a good time to move my roof box so I can do a bit more work on Narrowboat Laura's roof. Yeah, if you're a regular listener, you'll have seen me make this the other year. So as you can see, I've already primed that bit of roof. Oh, put that in there out of the way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that forward, and then I'm going to move that to where that is. Let's do it. Now, some of you will know some good friends of ours, Lisa and Glenn from A Life Full of Meaning, and they do a thing called geocaching. And our lad Harry, he said, why don't you go and do a bit of geocaching? So I've downloaded the app and we're going to go and set off and do it in a minute. There's just one just to the other side of the bridge. So let's go and have a look. So that's the direction we're going. There's a bridge through there. And we're going under that and along a bit, and it's showing it just there next to that boat that isn't there now. This was done a couple of years ago, probably. I can tell that because there's a bit of the old green weed there, duckweed, that was plagued the canal back during lockdowns. Let's go. Mrs. Swan there, she's on her eggs. They've had some. That means the other one will be...
He's over there.
He's over there. He's all the way over in the field there. He spotted us now. He's going, oh, what are you looking at? We're just through the bridge. We've not far to go now. It's just round the corner. So our list, it's looking like we're just about here. So it's either somewhere in here, but it's not quite over there. So we're going to have a rummage around and we'll see what we come up with. Well, that was our first geocache. I really enjoyed doing that. I didn't find it, Debbie did, because I'm useless at finding stuff. I can't find the end of my own fingers usually. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. A lovely little spot as well. We're definitely going to carry on and do some more. I'm going to go and tell Lisa now. Yeah, well, yesterday we ran the engine for about an hour and a half and we ended up with hot water. But for about 40 minutes, I did have the cap off the engine. And when I shut it down, it gurgled ever so slightly. The leak was underneath that bed. Nothing's coming through there. So I'm going to double check today and see if that it's working again. So what I'll do is I'm just going to check the tappets first because of that clacking noise. I'm going to check all the tappets gap them if they need gapping, and then I'm going to test the water again. If by some chance I don't get enough, I've got an airlock, then I'm going to get that. I'm going to get a tester and we'll pressurize the system and just see where that leak is. If all the pipes are all right and all the fittings are okay, then we've got a more serious problem, which is inside the engine, which we don't want to have. It could well be that I've got the cylinder head gasket that I put on has failed. That sometimes does happen. So what I may well do is get a sniff test, or a sniff test as it's called. Chili Jam Jeff told me all about that. I can get one of those and try that before I do anything else, because if I pressure test it and it's failed, I won't know if it's the head gasket or not. Anyway, I'm going to do the tappets now and we'll give that a go. Hi, boat season. They're all coming out. It's been a busy weekend actually. Right, this is the rocker box here, and this is what we're going to take off today. That's the oil filler cap, and this is my expansion tank, and that is the filler cap for the expansion tank. So what happened was when I turned it off there was a slight gurgling noise, so I'm going to undo this and we'll see if it makes a gloopy noise. So, I know it's not a technical term, but it makes like a gurgling noise when you take the cap off, and then you sort of know that there's an issue. Anyway, we'll give it a go. Let's listen up. Yeah, there was definitely a gurgling noise there, and that level has dropped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to top that up. Don't know if you can see, I think it's a bit dark for it, but yeah, you can see that's dropped a smidge. Oh no, when I dip my finger in, so this is a good test. When you dip your finger in, if you touch water, that's a good sign. Maybe we'll leave it for now, do the rest of the stuff, start it up and see how it goes. Right, put that back on and we'll give this a go. This is the overflow pipe for the expansion tank. Any water that overflows goes through this pipe and into the bilge, which I've been getting a lot of recently. There we go, that's out of the way for a minute so I can get at this. Not here. That's the nuts holding it on off. It takes a bit of a wiggling to get this off. It's a bit of a nightmare, to be honest, getting it out. There we go, I got it. Oh, and there we go. So what we got there is the inside of the rocker, and this groove here, this is where this sits, which is the rocker gasket. And it's looking like it's not working properly, so I might have to do a bit of fettling with that. There we go. Let's get that out of the way. Ooh. So here we have the tappet. These are the valve springs and these are the valves. So there's an intake and an exhaust. So an inlet and an exhaust valve. Not sure which one's which because I'm not that technically minded on engines, but what I've got to do is, we're counting this as number 1 cylinder. So what I've got to do is I've got to bring these so where both of these are rattling, and that'll mean that the piston is at top dead centre. I can't do it off any markings either side because there's just no room to see anything. So what I am going to do is I'm just going to put the gearbox in on and then rotate the gearbox, the shaft, so that I can then move it into the correct position for gapping the valves. Well, I'll check that the valves are all right. If they're okay, I don't really need to keep messing about, but there seems to be a big clacking coming from here, and there's a lot of oil seeped out of here. Oh, that wouldn't have helped. There's a stone in there. How's that going there? That's maybe what's causing a bit of leakage there. Anyway, better have a look and get on. Spider! We've got a spider in the engine. Let's put it in gear. See if we can move around. This might be awkward. You might get moved in a minute. Oh. That's not working. So maybe I can turn the engine over a bit. Gonna have to check out the firing order. Right now, after some major fiddly faffing about and YouTube looking and internet looking, I've found out that this is probably top dead centre there. Correct me if I'm wrong, this is the right hand side is the exhaust and the left hand side is the inlet. So what I can do is I can adjust these two, this one, and this one, which you might not be able to see, but apparently I can do that. So that's what I'm going to do. I know from the internet as well, 0.015 is the valve clearance. I've got that there. If it's wrong, well, we'll find out, won't we? Anyway, so what I'm going to do is 1/2 inch spanner. I'm going to undo that, and then I'm going to use the screwdriver to adjust the clearance. And what I want is it to just grip on. That's quite tight, that. So I just want it to grip on, but it's very loose on there. So I'm going to readjust this one so it's just tight gripping it, but not so I have to yank it in and out. Right, that's the plan. Let's give it a go. So you loosen off this nut here, and then what you tend to do is you need 3 pairs of hands for this job. So I'll put that in there. So I've got that through there. I'll put that in there, and what I can do is I can turn it and adjust it, and you might not be able to see it, but this rocker head goes up and down. So as I undo it, the rocker head comes up, and as I turn it clockwise, it tightens up towards the valve. There we go. So what I'll do is hit this, we'll put that in there, and we'll just turn it. Now that's just got hold of it there, just ever so slightly. So what I'll do now is, leaving the screwdriver in position there like that, what I'll do then is tighten up the nut. What I managed to do is untighten it loads. Right, so now I've done that, I'm going to double check and see if it's still all right. You see now that goes in there nice and neat. It's just sort of like there's a little bit of resistance, so I'm just scraping them together. So I'm going to do the same with this one. That's very loose, so we'll move that one and do the same thing. Ooh, quite tight that. Doesn't have to go miles. And we're in there, so tighten her up. Oh, now what's happened there? Now what's happened there is that has got stuck. That's better. That's better. Try again. That's just nice there. So we'll put this on, and without moving it, we'll tighten her up. Test her again. Now she's a little bit looser, so I'm just gonna, that's all she needs there. She's a bit tighter. Tighter still. Yeah, good resistance on both of them now. Okay, shall we give this a go? See if she does anything. Seems to have cured the clacking. We'll go and give her a test run. I'll switch her off, put everything back together, and we'll go and get some water. Well, that's her all back together, but I don't know if you can still hear. It's not as bad as it was, but there's still a little ticking noise. Maybe I haven't adjusted them just right. Sounds much better than it did do. Started easier. We'll keep an eye on it. We're going to go and get some water in a bit, so hopefully it'll either go away or it'll tell us whether I've done right or not. I just love engines. We're doing a little bit of experimenting with curtains and blinds. We're a bit fed up of brushing past all these curtains all the time because I keep dragging the curtains out with my shoulders. So it's a bit of a nightmare. But we've tried a different blind in the kitchen and that seems to work okay, but we did notice there was a few issues. But this one seems to work really well. We quite like it, but there's a few tweaks we can do. Obviously you filmed this for the channel, didn't you, love?
Totally. You're an arse.
She didn't film any of it. Someone just told me now. We're just waiting for the engineer to turn up. Once he does that, we can check the engine over and let's see what news he brings. Well, that was the news. Didn't really want to hear. Looks like the big end's gone on the engine, so we're going to have to take the engine out and have her rebuilt. Now, I've built most at the top end, so that's saved a bit of money, and diesel pump was only refurbished a year and a bit ago, and we had new injectors right at the beginning, so that'll save us a few quid, but it's still going to be an expensive job. So yeah, not the best news we wanted to hear, really.